Good evening. My name is Paige Hitting. On behalf of the Chanhassen High School 2018 graduates, we would like to welcome you all to Chanhassen High School's 8th commencement exercises. We are Chan.
Assalamu alaikum. Magae Mahaya Khadija Abdi, Manta 2018 graduation Chanhassen High School Y. Hoya wa kujale.
Xin kính chào quý vị, tôi là Bùi Công Hoài, xin thay mặt các học sinh niên khóa 2018 hoan nghênh quý vị đến để tham dự lễ tốt nghiệp lần thứ 8 của trường Chanhassen High School.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es María Laura Contreras. En nombre de los graduandos del 2018, nos gustaría darles la bienvenida a la ceremonia de graduación de la 8ª promoción de bachilleres del Liceo de Chanhassen. Somos Chan.
Labas vakaras. Mano vardas Tomas Jasukaitis. Chanhassimo verdūnės mokyklos abruentinis vardu. Kviečiame į Chanhassimos vidurinės mokyklos 8 studentų įteikimo ceremoniją. Mes čia.
Sabaydi, Kanoi sa Lida Mahachai, Tang na nakien ti job nai pi song pan sipit kong nong hien Chanhassen. Boy Kanoi yen di tan hap tan ma huang nai piti hai pat pai pakat Kanoi kapjai.
अस्सलामुअलैकुम, मेरा नाम अरीबा कासर है। चनहासन हाई स्कूल के 2018 ग्रेजुएट्स की जानिब से हम आपको चनहासन हाई स्कूल की 8वीं कमेंसमेंट तकरीब में इस्तकबाल करते हैं। चनहासन जिंदाबाद।
Gott kvöld, ég heiti Gísli Fannar Þórisson. Fyrir hönd útskriftárgang skólans árið 2018 býð ég ykkur velkomin á 8. útskrift Chanhassen High School. Við erum Chan. Ávaxta tippi.
Nhớ rằng cũng bây giờ sáng trình về bé ở chỗ này tôi bé học graduation đó tôi sẽ bé graduate ở chỗ anh bé ở Chan.
Wa shang hao, 我的名字 Henry Chen， 我们到校 Chanhassen High School， 毕业生欢迎您参加 Chanhassen High School 第8届毕业典礼，我们是 Chan。
Boa tarde, meu nome é Thiago. Em nome de Chanhassen High School e pelo meu nome, eu agradeço por terem vindo nessa graduação de 2018. Nós somos Chan.
Guten Abend, mein Name ist Luke Reich. Im Rahmen des Abschlusses der Chanhassen High School 2018 möchten wir Sie auf der 8. Zeremonie zu Ehren unserer Abschlussklasse willkommen heißen. Wir sind Chan.
Have you ever felt like nobody was there? Have you ever felt forgotten in the middle of nowhere? Have you ever felt like you could disappear, like you could fall and no one would hear?
So let that lonely feeling wash away, 'cause maybe there's a reason to believe you'll be okay. 'Cause when you don't feel strong enough to stand, you can reach out your hand. And oh, someone will come running, and I know will take you home. Even when the dark comes crashing through, when you need a friend to carry you, and when you're broken on the ground, you will be found. So let the sun come streaming in, 'cause you'll reach up and you'll rise again. Lift your head, look around, you will be found. 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 There's a place where we don't have to feel unknown. And every time that you call out, you're a little less alone. If you only say the word, from across the silence, your voice is heard. Someone will come running. Take you home. Take you home. Even when the dark comes crashing through, when you need a friend to carry you, when you're broken on the ground, you will be found. So let the sun come streaming in, 'cause you'll reach up and you'll rise again. If you only look around, you will be found. You will be found. Out of the shadows, the morning is breaking, and all is new. All is new. It's filling up the empty, and suddenly I see that all is new. All is new. You are not alone. 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 You are not. You are not alone.
Even when the dark comes crashing through, when you need someone to carry you, when you're broken on the ground,
You will be found. So reach up and you'll rise again. If you only look around, you will be found. You will be found. You will be found. You
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dick Unger, and I have the honor of serving as the principal of Chanhassen High School. It is my absolute pleasure to welcome you. I'm feeling a little pressure. It is my pleasure to welcome you, members of the graduating class, District 112 staff, Superintendent Christopher, representatives of the Board of Education, parents, relatives, and friends, to Chanhassen High School's 8th commencement exercises. Before we begin with our addresses this evening, I'd like to first thank our student musicians and their directors for sharing their talents with us this evening. The Chanhassen High School Symphonic Winds under the direction of Mr. Paul Swanson. Let's give them a round of applause. Also like to thank the Chanhassen High School Concert Choir under the direction of Mrs. Sarah Gilbertson, and they have disappeared, but let's give them a round of applause. I'd also like to take a moment to introduce those on the stage with us today, and I would ask them to stand and remain standing. Please hold your applause until all of them have been recognized. Superintendent Clint Christopher, Assistant Superintendent Amy Ledoux, School Board Chair Tim Klein, School Board Vice Chair and Clerk Jeffrey Ross, School Board Treasurer Amy Logue, School Board Director Lisa Anderson, School Board Director Josie Colleran, School Board Director Fred Berg, School Board Director Ron Meyer, our Assistant Principal responsible for academics, Ms. Erin Swoboda, our Assistant Principal and Athletic Director, Mr. Cullen Bond, our Assistant Principal and Activities Director, Jim Swearingen, our Principal of the IAA, Tara Seifert, is with us, and our staff speaker, who is helping us in the crowd, Tally Sinjim. Please stand. Let's give all those people a nice round of applause. Now, I'd like to introduce Cullen Bond, our Athletic Director, who will be introducing our first student speaker. Cullen?
Thank you, Mr. Unger. Good evening. It's an honor to be standing before the class of 2018 this evening on this special evening. I have the privilege to introduce our first speaker of the evening. I could use words like well-rounded, talented, right? Servant leader, even exceptional to describe this young man, but I don't know if it would truly paint a picture when you look at his athleticism, him academically, him as a person. For me, I've had the privilege of seeing him over the last few years compete as a student athlete and also as a talented musician. He was a captain of the football team for 2 years, 3-time letter winner, voted all conference his junior year. During his 4 years here at Chanhassen High School, he also participated in wrestling and track. When he wasn't working out athletically or training, you could find him honing his skills on the trombone. Playing first chair since his junior year, pretty big accomplishment. He was a member of the distinguished Metro West All-Conference Band. At Chanhassen High School, he was part of the Symphonic Winds Band and also our jazz band. With such a passion and love for music, he actually co-founded and is the president of a new club called the Tri-M Musical Society, which has got a pretty cool passion or philosophy, or I guess a goal of recruiting and encouraging musical participation, not only here at Chanhassen High School, but throughout the district. Member of the National Honor Society, Student Council, was the 2018 male recipient of our AAA award. He was a student ambassador, which gave tours to prospective students in schools as they came to Chanhassen High School. And last fall, he was voted our 17-18 Homecoming King. It's my pleasure to introduce the son of Jackie and George Tyson. Ladies and gentlemen, can I get a warm storm welcome for the exceptional Mr. Alex Tyson.
Hello, class of 2018, and welcome to all of the family, friends, faculty, and other guests that may be joining us today. I'd like to preface my speech with a small confession, the truth about what it is I'm doing here today, and I mean right now on this stage. It all started a little over a month ago when I saw a tall, bearded man resembling a lumberjack come marching intently towards me in the lunchroom. I remember thinking, what is this man doing in the high school? And why is he staring at me? As he got closer, I realized, quite contrary to my original assumption, it was not in fact a lumberjack, but it was Mr. Feggie. When he reached me, Mr. Feggie did as he so commonly does. He scowled at me without saying a single word for 30 long and uncomfortable seconds. Eventually, he said, "You're auditioning to speak at graduation." And then he turned and walked away. And now here I am. Later, I went back to Mr. Feggie to ask for some help on what I might talk about tonight. And he said one thing that I'm going to try to stick to tonight. He said, "Alex, don't give them advice. Frankly, no one cares, and no one will listen to it." And I came to the conclusion that he's right. I don't want to stand up here today and act as if I, an 18-year-old child who frequently makes Chewbacca noises around the school, have any clue about life. So let me warn you, I have no advice for any of you today. We're all just trying to figure out life as we go. But before I go any further with this thought, let me share a memory with you. September 5th, 2014. That was our very first day of high school at Chanhassen. I don't know about all of you, but I remember it like it was yesterday. I remember walking into the school and looking around at all of the strange new faces during that link program and just being completely overwhelmed. I don't think any of us could forget those cheesy games where we had to sit on the ground and introduce ourselves over and over again, which incidentally turned into most of us really sitting on the ground and asking the upperclassmen about high school. It was in that moment, though, sitting with that small group of kids I had never talked to or even seen before, that I remember being genuinely terrified for the first time in my life. And not only that, I remember being terrified of this newfound fear that I'd never experienced before. I'm sure I wasn't the only one. Well, at least I hope I wasn't the only one. The point is, I was scared of the fact that we had 4 long years ahead of us. At that moment in time, I was thinking that the next 4 years were going to be the longest time of my life, just a never-ending sea of new faces and new challenges. Thankfully, I've never been more wrong about a single thing in my entire short existence. Standing here now, looking out at all of you, it seems like it's really only been a matter of weeks. And while I haven't had the honor to become close with every single person in this class, I have had the amazing opportunity to become close with a lot of you. Maybe a little too close. But to be completely honest with all of you, I'm starting to feel terrified again. And not just because I'm standing up here speaking in this gigantic auditorium, which, mind you, is very frightening. I'm terrified to be leaving all of you outstanding people in just a few short months. I wish I had the time to become closer with every single one of you. Over the course of these 4 very short years, however, I learned a lot about this class that gives me the confidence to face this fear. When I arrived at Chanhassen, just a puny, okay, maybe not so puny, freshman, I was greeted by a very welcoming sight: respect. If you haven't had the opportunity to look around at our country or our world recently, let me tell you, it seems like the one thing that is missing everywhere you look is a little respect. But that is something we are definitely not short of here at Chanhassen. While I can't give you any advice today, I can at least speak to the quality of this class. Here are a few facts for all of you. The class of 2018 alone consists of 81 extremely talented and devoted musicians, friends of mine that have helped create beauty and inspiration with their talents. I've also been surrounded by 100 academic team members who have helped bring home more trophies, banners, and awards for our school than any other sport or activity. This class alone happens to be made up of 251 student athletes who participated in at least one sport. 251. That number is over half of our entire class. And those numbers don't even include the dozens of clubs and extracurricular activities that so many of us were involved in over the years. These numbers are fantastic, and if I had the time, I could talk about more numbers all night. But the truly amazing thing about them is how these three areas blended together so effortlessly. We had athletes that were on academic teams or were outstanding and dedicated musicians. We had students that competed every weekend for the past 4 years of high school on not just one, but multiple academic teams. We also happen to have 44 athletes who will be going on to play a collegiate sport at all three levels, who have pushed themselves both on the field, but more importantly, in the classroom. These are all things that are not typical in most high schools around the world. And that's part of what makes the culture at Chanhassen so amazing. This culture has helped to foster an environment and a legacy at Chanhassen where everyone is able to respect the passions and curiosities of their fellow classmates without any judgment, which is something that our world needs a lot more of. In short, I've been surrounded by 435 unique individuals who have made coming to school for the past 4 years a simply amazing experience. When I finally realized all these things, I also came to the realization that I no longer have to be terrified, because I trust these classmates, and as a result, I've learned that it's better to embrace the unknown than it is to fear it. I don't know what the future holds. I don't know where any of us will end up, and I certainly don't know how to help any of you get there. But I do know that each of us has been given the opportunity to achieve greatness thanks to all of the amazing people in this building with us today. Class of 2018, I want you to look at the people seated around you right now and actually thank them for helping you through this great endeavor. And then simply head into the next chapters of your lives without any fear. Embrace that unknown as we all did four short years ago, and continue to respect everyone as you've already shown you're capable of along the way. Thank you for 4 great years, class of 2018.
Good evening, everyone. Well, we did it. Each and every one of you did this tonight, and we are so very proud of you. Remember to take some time to live in this moment, take a breath, and have a little fun. So with that, I have the great honor and privilege of introducing our staff speaker tonight, Ms. Tally Sinjum. Tally started her career at Chanhassen High School in the fall of 2015. It was her very first job after her Master's of Arts program from the University of Minnesota. She can confidently say that she went into the profession mainly for the content. She loves literature and the empathy it provokes in all of us. But all of you is what has sustained her through that work. She has been with you, the class of 2018, ever since she started, and ever since you started with us 4 years ago. First, she taught you guys as sophomores, then she taught all 5 sections of juniors last year, and she still has 2 sections of seniors this year. So they have all been a huge part of the reason she so loves Chan. Each one of you has mattered to her. She can confidently say that she would not be the same teacher she is without each and every one of you. So, without further ado, please welcome Miss Tally Sinjum.
Okay, well, first of all, congratulations, friends. I know that you've taken various and diverse paths to get here tonight, but I think I speak for everybody sitting behind you when I say that we are so proud of everything that you've accomplished. I figured that the best way to start this thing was probably from the beginning. I first met quite a few of you when you were fresh-faced 15-year-olds as sophomores, and I was a terrified new teacher. I eventually followed you through 11th grade and into 12th, but one of my first distinct and lasting memories of this class is from that September of the first year. I was gifted with a 6-hour filled with magnetic personalities and a never-ending supply of enthusiasm. Collectively, they embody an energy that I've come to recognize as largely representative of this class as a whole. As you can imagine, they would regularly propose innovative alternatives to virtually any lesson I planned, and occasionally, if we had time at the end of the week, I would humor them and let them carry out their latest scheme that they swore was in the name of team building. On the Friday that I'm remembering, it happened to be a trust fall. So, if you're unfamiliar with the exercise, it involves an individual standing on some sort of heightened ledge and then falling backwards with their arms crossed over their chest into the waiting arms of whatever group that they are deciding to trust. I'm not sure that I should admit sanctioning this activity in front of the superintendent and the school board, but I'm hoping that there's some sort of statute of limitations on putting the school and myself at a decent risk for liability. So I vividly remember holding my breath while a few brave souls took their falls into their classmates' arms and praying to any and all gods that it didn't end in any broken limbs. It didn't, but here's the really crazy part. By the end of that class hour, I found myself standing up on that table and falling into the steady arms of my obstreperous 6th hour. I cannot tell you exactly how it happened, mostly because thinking back on it now, not even I know how they got me up on that table. But what I can tell you is that is the unique power of the class of 2018. Their unrelenting tenacity to push boundaries, to push each other, to push themselves. Their unbridled enthusiasm and eagerness for life experiences drives them farther and makes them aim higher than most are ever inclined to do. As a group, their hunger for life is infectious, and I can personally attest that they push themselves and those around them to give more than anyone previously thought possible. But perhaps your greatest strength is your complete openness and determination to building relationships with and caring deeply for those that surround you. It's through these relationships that you've taught me some of the most important things that I consider worth knowing. Our schooling experience is a time that's plotted out into increments and detailed down to the last minute. It's conveniently defined for us when we stop being middle schoolers and start being high schoolers. We're usually told where we should be and when. Recently, I read about a concept called an ecotone. It was in a young adult novel. It's a science concept, but don't worry, it was in a novel. I read about it. Basically, an ecotone is a region of transition from one biological area to another. The term generally applies to physical landscapes, and it can be anywhere from a sharp boundary to a gradual blending. What you've taught me is that essentially, throughout all of our lives, we're working our way through a series of metaphorical ecotones, whether they be personal or professional or biological. We are all constantly moving from one vague area of development to the next. Up until now, your ecotones have been relatively sharp and clear, but as you move forward, they become increasingly gradual. Soon, you won't have the end of a school year to mark your maturity from one level of development to another. But what's beautiful about this is that we all exist in those gray areas of transition, which force us to never really stop growing. If it seems like nobody ever really has this whole life thing figured out, it's because we don't, even as adults, because we're forever moving and making our way through those ecotones. My experiences with you the past few years have taught me that, and like Alex already said, when it comes down to it, we're all just trying to do the best we can with what we have. And knowing that makes it infinitely easier to love your fellow humans despite their blunders and mistakes, which you've also taught me is probably the most important thing that we can do in this world anyway. Timing and circumstance helped forge a unique and deep bond between us that I doubt I'll ever have with another class again. The simple truth is, I don't know a Chanhassen High School that doesn't involve the class of 2018. We've been moving in parallel ecotones ever since we met. Many of you were receiving your driver's license or permits when I was finishing up my teaching license. Some of you were handed the keys to your first vehicle as I was handed the keys to my first classroom. Even this year, while you were touring campuses or mapping out where your next adventure would be, I was viewing houses and deciding which suburb I wanted to live in. We've always been growing together, whether I had you in class or you wandered into my classroom on a random flex hour, or we were involved in the same activity together. Perhaps we've simply been growing in the same space with the same people these past few years. Whatever the case may be, I need to thank you all before you go. You've shaped me in a way few realize and have forever defined who and what Chanhassen High School is to me. Kurt Vonnegut once said that we have to be continually jumping off cliffs and developing our wings on the way down. I'm thankful for the class of 2018 because you've been pushing me off cliffs or tables ever since the beginning. Even as you're halfway out the door, you're still getting me to do crazy things like getting up on this stage. What you've taught me is that there's really no such thing as being ready for what comes next. You probably won't be an expert. You might not have the conviction that your actions are the right ones or the confidence that your instincts will benefit you. You'll soon find out that so many of the adults that you once thought of as infallible and all-knowing rarely do either. You only need to be willing. Because if you wait around until you've received some assurance or sign that you're ready, or even worse, right, you might miss out on a really great thing. I would have never known the constant support you'd offer me if I was unwilling to take the leap. When I told Mr. Unger what I wanted to speak about tonight, one of the first things he said was, "Well, did they catch you?" And although he said it in jest, it made me stop for one terrified moment and think about, like, that scenario never occurred to me. I never thought that they wouldn't. Not for 1 second. I was more concerned that another adult would walk by and I would have to justify my throwing caution to the wind. And I'm sure it never occurred to the students in that class not to catch me. Because that's just not the humans that you are. You show up. And you've taught me that all anybody really wants in life is for someone to show up for them. So, from the bottom of my heart, I do truly thank you for showing up these past four years. Sorry. For everything. You've left a mark on Chanhassen High School that won't soon fade. And I don't think it's possible to convey how very much I will miss you and how terribly I love you. But as you move into and through your next ecotones, I hope that you do keep pushing yourself to jump off cliffs and build your wings on the way down. Even if you don't feel ready, let yourself be willing. Hopefully, you won't need the screaming gaggle of 10th graders cheering you on to force you to take the leap like I did. But maybe, if you're lucky like I was, you'll have a fiercely loyal and compassionate group of humans around you that are there to catch you whether you build those wings or not. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sinja. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and congratulations, class of 2018. Our next graduation speakers are two more Chan seniors who have represented our school so well over the past 4 years. To mention just a few things that Ava Ewald and Thomas Price have achieved during their time with us, they are 4-year participants and senior captains of the Chanhassen speech team, both having competed very successfully at the state and national level. Ava, a 4-time state medalist and national finalist. Thomas, a state champion and also national finalist. Ava is also a 4-year member of both the debate team and our choir program. Thomas is a 5-year member of our many bands and 3-year actor in our theater productions. They are both exceptionally bright, dedicated, ethical go-getters who I hope will leave you, as they do me, with the sense that our future as a community and as a country is very bright. Please give a warm, storm welcome to Ava Ewald and Thomas Price.
Hey everyone, I'm Ava Ewald.
And I'm Thomas Price, and we're ecstatic to be your co-valedictorian speakers.
Oh, Tom. No. We're the regular ones, buddy.
What? No, I did.
You have a GPA of 1.
That's debatable.
No, you failed a class at the co-op called Beginner's Animal Handling.
Those turtles were way faster than they looked.
All right, well, we are so excited to be here with you today. It's absolutely incredible what we've all accomplished over these last 4 years.
You mean like an exceptionally mediocre GPA, obtaining crippling anxiety, woo-hoo, and a 4 on that one essay you wrote for Mr. Veggie?
I didn't even have Mr. Veggie.
Still, you have a point. We have grown quite a bit, and we still have a ways to go.
Basically, we are 2 of the youngest people in our grade, so we're by far not the oldest or the wisest. But we are here to share with you something we've been trying to do this last bit of high school and are hoping to carry throughout our lives. I think Tom here and I realized that at some point you have to look up from what's bogging you down. Be in the moment, because that's really how we learn in this world.
There once was a turtle. His name was Thundercat. And wow, was he a slippery little boy. Hi, I'm Tom Price, the failure of the animal handling course. Thundercat belonged to an elite group of turtles in the animal handling class. He was the captain of his squad and knew the value of persistence as well as raw, untamable strength. Thundercat knew this because he understood the concept of being in the moment and also being who you are. But he didn't always understand that. Let's go back to the beginning. 40 years ago, the birth of Thundercat. Okay.
For years and years, we have had our smartwatches and Bluetooth headphones or whatever that can pull us away from the moments that we're currently in. And this is graduation, and the pamphlet said that we can't have our phones at graduation. Oh my God. So, but for example, how many times have we been in class and been on our phones or doing other homework or falling asleep? Or how many times have we been out with our friends and just scrolled through our Instagram feeds and at the end of the night said, wow, this is super fun, we should do this again. Yeah, see, there's so much that we miss out on when we're not in the moment, when we're not fully present and observing what's going on around us.
Thundercat lived a fairly normal life for his first few years. He went to school, did well, made friends, etc. But Thundercat had a problem that many other amphibians also have. He was too dedicated to his work. All he wanted to do was to be the lead turtle in a co-op squad, and nothing was going to stop him. Even while he slept, he dreamt of the glorious future, running away from lanky ginger kids who just wanted an easy A. But what Thundercat didn't understand was, he was making one of the biggest mistakes of his entire life.
Many of us are occupied constantly, and we're often busy thinking about the next thing we have to do. So for us, being in the moment is way easier said than done. But it really should be done, because at any given time, there's a library with a book that can change your perspective on the world, that's just waiting for you to look up at the cover. At any given time, there's a poster on the wall inviting you to try a new activity. At any given time, there's a natural landscape just waiting for you to explore it. It's kind of like the old adage, stop and smell the roses. If you don't slow down and take in what's in front of you, how will you ever appreciate the beauty of a rose, or the sound of a dull rain, or the wretched smell of a corpse flower for all you wacky botanists out there?
Thundercat also likes flowers, specifically eating them, which leads to the next chapter of Thundercat. Thundercat eventually went off to Turtle College to pursue his turtle captain dream. He worked and worked, ignoring his friends and the world around him, never really learning and always staying stagnant. He viewed slowing down and breathing as the weak option, as opposed to working constantly to achieve his goals. He did everything he could for this one tangible thing and was cursed with tunnel vision. He ignored the lessons in the world around him and still couldn't realize that something was wrong. That is, until he met Cloud Kitten. One day, after skipping another social gathering, he saw an old turtle waltzing carefree across the library while he was studying. Even though curiosity did kill the cat, Thundercat technically wasn't a cat, he was an amphibian. So, he approached him. And he harshly asked, "Excuse me, sir, what's got you so happy?" "Me," replied the old turtle. He took a slow look at Thundercat, saw him for what he was. "I was once like you, fast, never really living. You see, the reason I'm smiling, Sonny, is because you just have to live. I'm living right now. I see the trees, their strong resilience, the children and their innocent joy, everything this world has to offer. And I am full.
See, we're about to go out into the real world. So just try to experience all the places in it, wherever you find yourself, so that you can learn and grow from all of them. Because if we're only ever stuck in our own mindsets and routines, we'll miss out on all the crazy cool things going on around us. Like, did you know there's an underwater music festival in the Florida Keys?
Neat.
That's totally worth missing 2 of your yoga classes.
Well, you don't know my yoga teacher, so.
Hey. But seriously, we're about to start the great adventure of life right now. Isn't that just so cool? We're about to go into different corners of the world and work on different amazing things. But right now, be with everyone and enjoy this chapter that we're about to go into.
And this final chapter is about Thundercat. Being slow is in a turtle's nature. It's not bad to be slow, nor is it bad to make mistakes. As long as you breathe, look around you, and keep those black beady eyes up, the world will change. This is the lesson that was taught to Thundercat by the wise Cloud Kitten. And soon after this epiphany, Thundercat found himself sauntering up to that co-op class with said lanky ginger boy and earning himself the position he dreamed of. He slowed down during the interview, knowing that though it was hard, it was for the best. He accepted who he really was. Accepted he wasn't perfect, but ready to learn from the world around him, as slow as that may be. He was turtly ready. Turtle, like it's a pun.
Do everything in your power to take it all in. Take in what makes you uncomfortable. Take in the beauty in the world so you can see it in yourself. Take in others so you can remember and appreciate the people who shaped you. Take it all in so you can learn more. Because as Socrates once said, the unexamined life is not worth living. So look around, look farther and look deeper, and realize that it's all out there waiting for you, as long as you decide to take it all in.
I just blacked out for like 8 minutes. Oh, okay.
So, class of 2018, thank you for all the lessons you've taught us.
And thank you, teachers, for all the literal lessons you've taught us.
I am rarely at a loss for words, but I genuinely don't know how to thank Chanhassen High School enough for pushing me and all of us to become our best selves. Saying this place has changed my life is a gross understatement.
Ditto.
So with that,
3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3.
thank you.
All right, I've already admitted to feeling some pressure, and now I have to follow the national speech champions. Class of 2018, congratulations on completing 4 years at Chanhassen High School. I speak for every adult at our school when I say it has truly been a pleasure to be even the smallest part of your lives. Now, after listening to Alex's speech earlier, I'm just thankful I wasn't planning on giving you any advice because apparently no one cares and everyone has stopped listening at this point anyway. So, recently, I was discussing an upcoming job interview with a friend who was considering a new position. I was passing on some thoughts and ideas to help them prepare and suggesting questions that they may be asked in the interview. You know, I said, they're going to ask you that question. Give me 3 words that describe you. It's a great question. It really tells the interviewer what the person thinks of themselves and how they feel about themselves. It can be a tough question, of course, unless you have someone give you a hint heading into your interview. Anyway, it got me thinking, what 3 words would I use to describe the class of 2018? Prepared. Graduating seniors, You have mastered a rigorous academic curriculum. You have learned critical time management skills. You have developed and presented outstanding capstone projects. And some of you have even learned to sort your lunch into the correct recycling, trash, or organic bin. You are prepared, talented. Academics, activities, athletics, and arts. I could list every incredible accomplishment that you have achieved over the past 4 years, but I'm fairly certain that would take me way beyond the allotted time, so I will simply say that you are all storm stars to me. You are all talented. Caring. You take care of one another, and I love that about you guys. This practice should not end tonight at the conclusion of tonight's senior party. This is a lifelong skill that will serve you well. Take care of people, and they will take care of you, much as Officer Bob takes care of Pat every day. You get the picture. All right, class of 2018, our school community owes you a big congratulations, and most importantly, a huge thank you. Mr. Klein, as the principal of Chanhassen High School, and on behalf of the faculty and staff who have had the privilege of working with these students, it is my honor to present to you and the school board of the schools of Eastern Carver County the graduating class of 2018 for the awarding of their diplomas. They have successfully met all requirements set forth by the Minnesota Department of Education and the Board of Eastern Carver County Schools. Mr. Klein?
Thank you. Superintendent Christopher, fellow directors, faculty and staff, family and friends. As a school board, we love this wonderful tradition where a community celebrates its really greatest product, you, its graduates. You have all helped make this moment possible by supporting these students in our schools. As a result, our highly committed teachers and staff continue to develop and deliver programs recognized as leading the way to ensure all learners achieve their very personal best. And to think 10 years ago, this school was an idea. Because of the support of the people in the back of the room, we honor and celebrate you in the front. And all the programs that you have had the opportunity to participate in, and you've had the opportunity to elevate through your performance. So thank you. So graduates, again, all this increasing esteem brought to the top 10 Chanhassen High School, Eastern Carver County is proud of your performances. You have contributed another substantial block to this young school's foundation. For that, we are very grateful, and we congratulate you on this achievement. You are now very well prepared to realize continued success as you enrich both your lives and those of your future communities. We wish you all the best in that journey. Now, Mr. Unger, on behalf of the Board of the Directors of the Schools of Eastern Carver County, I'm very proud to accept the class of 2018 for the awarding of their diplomas.
In a few seconds, each student in the graduating class will be called by name to cross the stage and receive his or her diploma. It is the culmination of 13 years of education captured in one brief and special moment. As I asked the class earlier this morning during our rehearsal to honor and respect and support one another during these presentations, I ask you tonight to hold your cheering and applause until all students have been called and crossed the stage. And each student, first to last, has enjoyed that special moment for themselves and their families. Readers, please bring the students forward at this time.
Khadija Mirjan Abdi.
Celia Christine Ahrens.
Rebecca Marie Aiken.
Nathan Peter Allard.
Kevin James Allen.
Olivia Ann Allen.
Jenna Michelle Althaus.
Brianna Christine Anderson.
Blake Robert Anderson.
Logan Keith Anderson.
Hannah Grace Anfinrud.
Jessica Lynn Barclay.
Jordan Marie Barclay.
Tyler Jackson Beck.
Dylan Michael Becker.
Brennan Marvin Bedeau.
Nicholas Robert Berg.
Daniel Scott Berquist.
Madison Noel Birkin.
Maite Bentoncourt Rivera.
Brandon Matthew Bickler.
Matthew Todd Bimberg.
Cassidy Binns.
Michael Timothy Block.
Madeline Charity Blommel.
Anna Christina Bloomquist.
Hannah May Bodmer.
Ryan Ruslan Bohera.
Abigail Jan Ball.
Benjamin Clarence Boersma.
Alexandria Rose Bosch.
Calvin Tyler Bowman.
Kai Eric Broughton.
Sydney May Brasted.
Grace Ann Bratrud.
Isaac Leon Brechko.
Alyssa Nicole Brooks.
Ryan Charles Brooks.
Brooke Olivia Brown.
Cole Thomas Brown.
Jacob William Brown.
Marta Jane Brunner.
Hoy Bowie.
Julia Ellen Bulat.
Drew Ronald Bump.
Christian Robert Butterfield.
Taylor Joan Burns.
Kirsten Beverly Callahan.
Austin Jordan Carter.
Patrick Nicholas Casey.
Georgia Hope Casper.
Carter Walter Chapman.
Kirsten Alexandra Chapman.
Marsden Dake Chatfield.
Alexis Lee Christensen.
Jake Ryan Christensen.
Connor Thor Christensen.
Kirsten Marie Clute.
Kira Bridget Collette.
Destiny Narisia Stephanie Colville.
Christiana Marie Connolly.
Maria Laura Contreras.
Stone Jordan Copeland.
Julia Sharon Costello.
Dolan Loritz Crane.
Benjamin Allen Crowley.
Keon Debiron.
Jack Andrew Dahlgren.
Lauren Jessica Dale.
Carly Marie Dahman.
Carissa Noel Dannon.
Lydia Joy Dara Isabel.
Caroline Rose Deck.
Andrew Hall Dorn.
Krista Marie Downey.
Claire Renee Drapeau.
Jackson Lewis Dudak.
Brooke Danielle Duenas.
Wesley Taylor Eastman.
Amy Lynn Echternacht.
Dawson Caleb Edwards.
Nurhan El Sanjak.
Marit Danielle Elgren.
Leah Rebecca Elleras.
Hannah Hunhe Engel.
Scott Anthony Erdman.
Ava Dane Ewald.
Matthew Alexander Iwanaka.
Grace Catherine Ewing.
Mason William Fenn.
Cassandra Ellis Ferguson.
Nathan Thomas Filco.
Adeline Irene Fisher.
Faith Warrior Fisher.
Joshua Mark Fisher.
Shane Jeffrey Flaherty.
Christian Dale Flanders.
Hunter James Flannery.
Samuel Thomas Flowers.
Avery Matson Forsyth.
Bryce Herlin Forsyth.
Hayden Jack Frazier.
Benjamin Nicholas Fry.
Kiera Monet Furlow.
Isabel Dawn Gallagher.
Emily Grace Gallardo.
Claire Elizabeth Gans.
Jack David Garrison.
George Evan Gero George.
Riley James Geske.
Pamela Ann Giordano.
Stephen Edward Godzak.
Jack Robert Goggins.
Isabella Carmen Goldwasser.
Noah James Gonzalez.
Christopher Richmond Gray.
Grant Brinkman Gregory.
Cole David Grinberg.
Grace Elizabeth Groshans.
Tyler Joseph Gunther.
Jacob Daniel Gustafson.
Kendra Joe Haas.
Amanda Joan Haddon.
Alexander Randall Hagan.
Benjamin Joseph Hammers.
Grant Edward Hammers.
Erica Jo Hansen.
Katie Lynn Hansen.
Lana Elise Hansen.
Alexandra Jean Harmdirks.
Jacob Andreas Hausum.
Madeline Grace Hawker.
Tess Ray Hedge.
Carson with a K, Philip Hegrenis.
Thomas John Highland.
Jacqueline Alexi Heron.
Benjamin Benton Hicks.
Paige Elizabeth Hitting.
Rowan Lane Hodgins.
Mitchell Stewart Holman.
Noah Michael Holes.
Lance Sulasuk Homsabat.
Alexander Thomas Huliston.
Matthew Dean Hove.
Jade
Hovey.
Kim Huang.
Ryder J. Hutton.
Robert Jeffrey Ireland.
Lauren Faith Ishii.
Olivia Ann Jackson.
Matthew Timothy Jacobson.
Nicholas Charles Janetto.
Sean Michael Jarish.
Tumas Juskatis.
Emma Nicole Johnson.
Ethan Michael Johnson.
Isaac Danielle Johnson.
Keenan Craig Johnson.
Mason William Johnson.
Ethan Lauren Jose.
Riley David Joint.
Reagan Nicole Juve.
Will Parker Kading.
Avery Rose Callio.
Naomi Julia Kahns.
Maggie Ann Catalinich.
Justin Andrus Calls.
Charles Robert Kelly.
Morgan Spring Kelly.
George Patrick Kenny.
Dylan Michael Kern.
Jaden Simaya Carey.
Adam Michael Keelty.
Rachel Janet King.
Casey Charles Kleinstuber.
Bennett Randall Klingman.
Cyan Mariah Jean Knutson.
Anna Marie Cordno.
Jack Lyndon Kraus.
Carter James Cruz.
Anna Grace Kugland.
Lawrence Daniel Kurth.
Danielle Nicole Kutch.
Cole Austin Labatt.
Reed Michael LaBounty.
Zachary Russell Lane.
Jack Robert Lanners.
Lily Diane Lark.
Jonathan Ray Larson.
Jonathan Ray Laurent.
Carson Allen Lee.
Tyler Andrew Lee.
Greta Pearl Linus.
Anne Catherine Lemieux.
James Anthony Lizignoli.
Julia Ann Lizignoli.
Ellie Irene Lair.
Iverson Packaday Locke.
James Robert Lockhurst.
Grant Spencer Lawrenson.
Kayla Lobsher.
Tyler John Lowe.
Ryan James Lucas.
Charlie James Lund.
Grace Ann Lundgren.
Alex Sean Lundquist.
Abigail Alice Lura.
Caitlin Grace Lydeen.
Connor Daniel Lynch.
Ricardo Anibal Madrid Dal.
Jake Amir Mahabadi.
Alida Faith Mahachai.
Callahan Joseph Manuel.
Zoe Rebecca Mans.
Jacob Thorpe Moss.
Griffin Dean McCarthy.
Gavin Robert McClellan.
Caitlin Taylor McCoskey.
Amelia Claire McGraw.
Grace Virginia McLarnon.
Megan Janet McNaney.
Tiago Medeiros Torres.
Grace Caroline Merrill.
Rachel Grace Meyer.
Lucy Vivian McKillizzi.
Brooke Veronica Miller.
Grace Catherine Miller.
Aiden Troy Moliner.
Chandler Evan Monroe.
Charlie Warren Montaigne.
Austin David Moore.
Vanessa Morelos Hernandez.
Colin James Mueller.
Caitlin Ann Murphy.
Elizabeth Claire Meister.
Isaiah Christian Nault.
Drew Charles Nelson.
Emma Christine Nelson.
Michael Douglas Nelson III.
Race John Nelson.
Alondra Neinsinger.
Caitlin Margaret Newer.
Abigail Marie Niebling.
Alex Thomas Niebling.
Zachary Robert Knoll.
Brooke Elizabeth Nyberg.
Nicholas James O'Brien.
Kelly Elise O'Connor.
Anna Elizabeth O'Neill.
Caitlin Ray Oberg.
Eddie Chris Odanga.
Blaine Kenneth Olson.
Alyssa Louise Oyen.
Jack Richard Parker.
Alexandra Lynn Patrick.
Jack Thomas Pavette.
Noah Scott Peterson.
Samuel George Peterson.
Evelyn Noel Peel.
Jindali Rochelle Pemble.
Kent Gabriel Penner.
Maxwell David Penner.
Andrea Marcella Peters.
Hannah Alyssa Ferris.
Nathan Adam Ferris.
Seth Howard Pierre.
Michael Angelo Pinero Calvente.
Mackenzie Reagan Pinkerton.
Danielle Paris Potier.
Thomas John Price.
Colin Robert Purdy.
Ariba Kasser.
Jack Alec Ragnow.
Madeline May Ragnow.
Luke Allen Reich.
Matthew Joseph Reich.
Abby Marie Renfro.
Casey Samantha Roos.
Tyler Benjamin Reitzel.
Frederick Alexander Reese.
Ruth Marie Robinson.
Bennett George Rockford.
Brandon Charles Raymer.
Rachel Cherie Rumkama.
Ashlyn Mary Rooney.
Evan Thomas Rowe.
Olivia Margaret Royer.
Bradley Robert Ruby.
Lauren Elizabeth Reeg.
Jack William Ryan.
Allison Nicole Ryan.
Isabella Samkow.
Caitlin Margaret Sampson.
Alexi Kristen Sandberg.
Garrett Michael Sapp.
Annika Noel Sasick.
Lauren Grace Sherbing.
Michaela Ann Schmelzer.
Andrew David Schmidt.
Colton Cade Schremp.
Samuel John Schulke.
Dylan Richard Schulte. Schutte.
Ryan Michael Schultenover.
Marie Rose Schultz.
Madison Anna Schwartz.
Logan Elliott Schwegler.
Bridget Ann Schwichtenberg.
Kevin Robert Seaman.
Mark Porter Self.
Christian Gabriel Sr.
Jack Thomas Sensky.
Madeline Grace Schaefer.
Nicole Marie Shaw.
Claire Deneen Shea.
Catherine Marie Shelley.
Maxwell David Shoger.
Ryan Michael Sibley.
Emma Kate Silbernagel.
Evan Mitchell Simon.
Lucas John Simon.
Michael Adam Simon.
Sean Willis Skogland.
Catherine Marie Scribina.
Kayla Mackenzie Smith.
Jacob Edward Smith.
Lily Marie Smith.
Samuel Everett Smith.
Theodore Richard Smith.
Bryn Elizabeth Smithson.
Alexander Lee Snader.
Paige Elizabeth Soliday.
Alexa Grace Somerville.
Riley Melina Sorensen.
Tyson Andrew Soto.
Justin Robert Stacy.
Luke Patrick Stevens.
Maxwell Austin Steiny.
Benjamin Kenneth Strand.
Nathan John Strobel.
Parker Kane Stromer.
Madison Ella Sumners.
Lily Sweeney.
Tatum Reagan Sweeney.
Warren Edwards Sweetser V.
Carly Claire Swenson.
Zachary John Swisher.
Jenna Nicole Sykes.
Brian David Taylor.
Catherine Marie Tice.
Christina Lynn Tice.
Emma Grace Thiel.
Benjamin Matthew Thomas.
Sydney Lisa Thompson.
Thomas James Thompson.
Tyler Alexander Tyron.
Patrick Edward Tommins.
Gisli Fanar Torreson.
Kyle James Travis.
Henry Trin.
Rachel Michelle Trich.
Thomas Jerome Trousseau.
Madison Faith Tulenchek.
Alexander Reed Tyson.
Catherine Danielle Urquhart.
Sean Chang Vang.
Peyton Eve Virgin.
Sydney Marie Volk.
Sean Michael Vonsang.
Christine Nicole Walsh.
Kelly Ann Walstead.
Sam Robert Walters.
Alexander J. Walther.
Christopher Edwin Wandling.
Cody Stephen Warner.
Madeline Claire Weber.
Alyssa Louise Whedon.
David Matthew Weiner.
Jack Oliver Welch.
Zachary Robert Wenning.
Abigail Jane Wyant.
Lauren Elizabeth White.
Timothy Paul White.
Riley Joyce Whiteside.
Cassidy Brooke Wiles.
Samantha Kimberly Wiles.
Eric Dwayne Williams Jr.
Skylar Rihanna Williams.
Luther Quinn Wilmot.
Benjamin J. Wilson.
Sean Michael Winters.
Patrick Joseph Wintroth.
Eleanor Margaret Wise.
John Howard Whitcraft.
Hallie Caitlin Witherspoon.
Andrew Michael Wolfbauer.
Parker Donald Wolf.
Tatum Elizabeth Worry.
Benjamin Robert Zaski.
Sabrina Rose Zelke.
Emma Frances Zeller.
Jacqueline Taylor Zerbus.
All right. Well, they're clearly not chanting for me, so we're going to move along. Graduates, before we do the traditional toss of the mortarboard, I'd ask you at this point to stand, face your family and friends, and let's give them a round of applause for all the support they've given you over the years. All right, now, graduates, you can turn back around. If you are planning on pulling the tassel off your mortarboard, this would be the right time to do it. Parents, if you're planning on taking a picture of the mortarboard flinging, you want to get your camera ready now. I'm going to read a sentence, and then I'm going to count to 3, and on 3, we're all going to do it at the same time, okay? All right, everybody, I present to you the graduated class of 2018 for Chanhassen High School. We wish you the best in your life's journey. 1, 2, 3.